Good afternoon and welcome to the next in the series of Successful Introvert Workshops. My name is Brian Johnson, the host, and it's great to be here this afternoon. I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but it's sunshine and rain, and often that just can create different images in different minds. Some of us love the rain, some of us hate the rain, and that really neatly ties into what we're talking about today. But firstly, just a bit of background on me. I come from a background of working 30 years in financial services, and for many of those, really struggling to find the success and happiness I was looking for as an introvert. Constantly being told I need to be something different from what I am, and getting that impression I'm not quite what the norm should be in the office environment to succeed. And that can really had a negative impact on my self-image, and spent a long time trying to be what I'm not before I discovered actually there is so much I've got to offer as an introvert, the success I can bring, and the balance it brings in communications, a mix of communication styles and approaches to life just brings so much. It took me a while to really learn and understand how to use my strengths to find the success I wanted. And over the last few years, I've really been a bit of a different journey, looking at the up and coming people through organizations and realizing that actually there are so many people who need help as an introvert to navigate the road to being true to themselves and finding that correct career path they're really looking for, realizing what it is possible to achieve. You don't have to listen to what the extroverts tell you. You can create your own different path and find the success you're really looking for. So today we're really focusing on seeing yourself positively. That's such an important issue. I was thinking that yesterday my wife was talking about the weather. She was really miserable, and just noticing, describing the wet and the cold as miserable. Just I don't mean it just means almost a sense of sadness comes over you when you just mention those words, and it's just noticing how the very language we describe affects how we feel. So it may be cold and damp, at least we're warm and inside, and we can watch the rain lashing against the windows, creating the patterns as it drips down. See the mist slowly obscuring our view, and just be thankful that we are not outside. When we go outside, we can just notice the rain bashing down on us, and noticing how it changes the feeling and senses on our skin, takes the heat away from us. Just for me, that is really the same thing as describing yourself positively. You can focus on negative language, it's damp, it's miserable, getting cold and wet, really don't like it. And we think, I can feel this down there, and I'm really looking for it. I can notice the difference it makes. And actually, what am I looking forward to? A nice warm cup of tea when I get in. And that is really the starting point for what we're thinking about. Seeing yourself, how you describe yourself, how do you describe other people around us? I do notice online there's a lot of negative talk about introverts, but the question is, what do we want? What do you want to talk about achieving in the future? What does change really look like? Just noticing my use of but there. For example, we use butter a lot when we're talking, and I just dropped it in there subconsciously. A lot of negative talk about introvert, but actually that's not negative stuff. It's not important to me. It's about what we can do and how we can create change. And there's negative talk, and we can use that. We can take that energy and that language and use it for our own advantage to achieve what we want to do. We often are told to think, you're too quiet, enough, you're antisocial, you don't even smile. That's because we all judge others by our own image as well. We all have our own expectations of what things look like. And Therefore, we expect other people to behave exactly like us. So I might be really smiling at the moment. Don't actually notice it because I always show my face. I think I'm really unhappy. I might just be thinking some of that is we should talk more meetings. It's, right, okay. Just when people are telling you what you should do, that's just them trying to impose their values on you. And it's really thinking about how we describe yourselves. When we think about ways and sentences, phrases to describe ourselves, it's about constructing it in very positive language. So I'm a quiet person who just gets on and get the jobs done. I listen, observe, and ask questions that I feel are relevant to get more information, understanding what's going on, to deal with my inquiring mind, just know more and observe different ways of helping people. And really worth just taking a little time and thinking about, how do I see myself? Find that quiet spot and think 10, 15 minutes just writing down, using the negative words, just cross them out, think, how can I write this in a positive way? Quiet, a good thing. Often do you tell your children to be quiet? Does it feel negative to be quiet? I see being quiet as a strength. We are made to listen and hear and understand. That's a new way we can make a difference. And so let's just take this idea of a positive description of yourself. If you're watching this on catch up, you can just pause and think, what's that positive description of myself? What does that look like? And think about, who is it we want to be? What would we describe the successful person as? And I know as an introvert, I often find myself overthinking and thinking, for instance, thinking, oh, nobody's going to like what I'm going to say today. I can sit here, okay, thinking, preparing with the weekly workshop, and actually, oh, nobody's going to like this. Nobody's going to really like what I'm saying. Nobody's going to get that. And sometimes it's realizing who that nobody is, and realizing there is somebody listening. There's always somebody listening. The first and most important person listening to what I'm saying is myself. I'm listening to my thoughts, and I'm verbalizing some of those thoughts. I create that clear positive statement. I am a good listener, a good thinker, a good observer. I enjoy helping people succeed. That's is more important. Be helping people take the limelight and find the success they want. And on the flip side, I want to be acknowledged for my input. I want to be appreciated, valued. That really motivates me. I want to be someone who is transforming lives and feels appreciated and valued by those I help. That's just a simple thank you is enough. That's where, and that is where I am making a small positive difference. I am moving forward where I want to be. What's your clear positive statement? I can create that image in my head of life is like see where I am on that journey, where I've come from and where I'm going. I know that each day I'm moving closer to that perfect situation. That's a clear, positive statement. I want to be. Part of that is knowing when I'll be where I want to be. I know I'm on that journey. If I look back to where I was 3 or 4 years ago, it's so far along now. I can see the destination. Sometimes it just really helps to focus on what we are aiming for. What does that success look like? What does that success feel like? What difference is it really going to make in our lives? You know, we could sit here and just rate the image, the impression, and see the picture again. Sometimes we focus on different senses. It's just focusing on what we can hear, we can see, we can touch, smell, just what we associate with that biggest, best, successful version of ourselves, which we are heading towards. And it's down to language. Confidence we're heading towards where we want to. It doesn't matter what pace we're moving in. It's matters that we're moving in the direction we want to go. Having that image sitting there, not close my eyes and just shutting everything out and noticing what is different about the environment when I am that successful. Noticing the subtle differences, what I'm doing. And that's really the energy of making a difference. When you think about the image, creating an image, whether it's in sight, sound, touch, and smell, I just imagine an idea. Just noticing what is different. Notice. How does that make you feel? Going on there, this is a really neat part of the whole journey, the mindset journey we are on, taking control of our mind. I come into talks knowing what I want to achieve and creating that image of what a successful presentation looks like each week. How I know that it's been successful, what I would have sounded like, what I would have said. And creating that impression really helps me to come across, create a valuable workshop. So thinking about actually that image, what is going on. Today we're taking the big chunk steps, and thinking about how we're going to get to that big goal, where we're going to see ourselves differently, how we're going to do that. Just thinking of that big picture you articulate in your mind, and just thinking about what are your options to create this. I mean, we can start with, is this possible? Think of that image, how is this possible? Just notice the first word that comes into your mind. Yes, it could be, maybe. No, just notice. Is it a desire? What's your attraction to goal? There's literally a similar time between paid and voluntary work, a difference in people's lives. A need. There's something you need. Driven by different things. Something I should do. I need to give myself permission to do it. I'm thinking about different approach. Which one of those words or phrases motivates you most to change? Possibility, desire, need, should, mission. Make me a mix of the two. I know it's possible. I know I need to constantly give myself permission. Success. And it's just reflecting on what is holding me back. What I need to do, move forward. You look at where you're at the moment. If you're not getting to where you want to be, what could be different if you change your approach? There's an old saying that do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. If what you're doing is not getting what you want, work out something you can change today. It could be different. For me, the belief, ultimate belief I have is that it starts with mindset, believing change is possible. And noticing the power of our own language, being self-aware of how our language changes how we feel. Change is possible. You had a different approach. What could you do? Do so many different things. What I notice every week that standing up, public speaking is not my natural environment. It's always stepping outside my comfort zone. I do notice that every week where my energy levels are at, and I can pounding away, and suddenly you get to around 20 minutes. And I just notice the energy levels dropping off. That's what I've learned about myself. I know I can do this for 20 minutes. I know I can do differently. Look at different things I need to do, and what we can do. Being self-aware of the language we use to describe ourselves, and just catching ourselves when we're using negative language, and oh, that's beautiful. And you can start, for example, just language around the weather. Oh, it's a cold and miserable day. It's damp. It's damp. It's a wet and windy day. Wind is blowing, and I'm warm and dry inside. Outside, I can just see the rain gently lashing down, washing things clean, watering the ground, and just making a difference. I can find the most ridiculous language. It just feels more positive and more energy in it. It's unusual. And just curl up on the sofa and widen it. Oh, it's a cold and damp day. What can I do? It's beautiful. I can just admire the rain on the window. There's beauty in the weather. For me, that is just a mindset. We have a family group. On a holiday, it never rains. We just get sunshine in a different form. And that comes again to the mindset, because as a matter, it rains, it ruins the holiday. But it rains, it gives us opportunity to do something differently. And it just makes it a bit fun with the kids. It's raining. Okay, what shall we do? What can we do? Not seeing it as holding us back. So ultimately, you have a choice. You can be different, do different, notice different, learn something, and do something different. Each week, my mantra is the same. Find one small thing you can do different, starting today, following up tomorrow. Give yourself the options of something you can do differently. It's building a constant habit of change. So thanks for your time. Really great to see you. Next week, I'm really going to be focusing on enjoying social events. Coming out of that season, and sometimes get invites to large social events. I know I do, and go. My first thoughts are, oh, really something. Actually, I have to work on. Thinking, okay, so that's something we're going to cover next week, because it's finding the right way to do these things. If you want to know more, you can email me at brian@brianpauljohnson.com, or you can use a QR code to book some time in my diary. Always happy to take any comments on chat, and it's really great to be here, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.